Thank you.
One of the things we wanted to talk about was endowments, and we have a lot of things that we want to talk about. I'm going to pick out some of the ones that I think are the most pertinent right now, and we'll cover those first. And one of them is celebrity spokespeople or networking through the celebrity networks, communities. And the reason I say that, and Bill, you and I had a conversation last night, as I did with a couple of other people, I found that when somebody were to walk in this room right now, we could have all these great scientists and everybody giving their presentations, they'd be bored to death. The average person wouldn't last 5 minutes in here. But if this room were full of celebrities, you couldn't get them out. They'd hang on every word that every celebrity was saying. So it's just the way it is. Now, the celebrities aren't obviously scientists and aren't educated, but if we can get celebrities, I think it's a big shortcut to our audience. Let's put words in their mouths, give them enough education in basic terms, show them the big benefits, and get them on board. The question is, what's the best way to find celebrity spokespersons?
So there's a guy named Ryan Scott based up in Bel Air who made his fortune in the IT industry, but who is now spending most of his time running a new outfit called Causecast. I was hoping that Ryan was going to be here. His badge is still outside. But he put a small amount of money into the Methuselah Foundation a couple of years ago, so that's really how I know him. And his heart is very much in the right place in this area. He really wants to support longevity. Causecast, well, look it up, causecast.org online. It's really focusing exactly on bringing celebrities into contact with causes that they may want to support, and thereby, indeed, leveraging exactly the mechanism for getting public support that Dave has just mentioned. I think it's a very promising approach. It's a very risky time to be launching something so unusual, and I don't know whether he needs help to keep it going or to keep it growing. So I very much encourage you guys to look into it and see what help you can give Ryan for that.
Great, thank you, Aubrey. Any other ideas?
I could address sort of the last three questions. I also know Ryan pretty well from his last company. He made about $150 million on that, so I don't think he's hurting too much for Causecast. But he actually started the first online, it was called Postmaster Direct, and then became Net Creation. So it was the first online email company back in the early 90s, and went public and did pretty well. I would say three things to sort of tie everything together, because I've got a little bit of expertise in all three areas. I'm on the board of Syracuse University's Newhouse School of Journalism, and so I see how they target donors. And earlier in my career, I worked in public relations for 2 universities and saw how they target donors. Obviously, with universities, you have a key list, which is the list of everybody who's graduated. But with social media and with Google, et cetera, you can go and basically populate a database by seeing everybody who has shown an interest, and also through the social networks to be able to say, hey, I know, like for example, I've known Ryan for 12 years. I had no idea he had an interest in this area. Now all of a sudden I know him, and it's like several people talking to somebody all of a sudden brings them in. The thing about celebrities, because I've done a lot of events over the years, and celebrities do draw media. I worked with UCLA. We did an event at UCLA. I worked with this group that was an environmental group in the early 1990s called ECHO. And what they did was they would bring in all these world-leading scientists, sort of in the environmental arena. Emma does a similar thing. And we would then go and get all the media there, because we would then get celebrities to sort of be the front people. So in other words, we'd have Jane Fonda there, and we would have Tom Cruise there, and that would then force them to listen to Cesar Chavez and whoever else was speaking at the time. And it worked. We had 14 TV crews show up and just worldwide coverage every single time we did that. And in social media, in the last 2.5 years, a very interesting thing has happened to Twitter. For the first couple 100,000 people of Twitter, they were all complete geeks that you've never heard of, who are just, basically, people who were into the technology. The next 5 million people who signed on, the top 100, pretty much the top 20 and most of the top 100 a year ago were basically top bloggers. They said, ooh, this is a way of getting more an audience. Today, look at the top 100. Celebrities. The top 20, like 16 of them are celebrities. So it's interesting that if you go through, say, a Hollywood agent to get somebody, they'll say, okay, here's what they charge for an appearance and blah, blah, blah. If you get somebody who knows the celebrity, interested in your cause, And they don't have to do anything that really takes a lot. If they have 1.5 million people following them on Twitter, they can just tweet a few times. It's going to help your cause. And they can also say, hey, this cause is raising money, and click here. So yes, it's nice to have them for events, and I think the groups involved here should have an annual event of some sort to sort of talk about what the progress of the last year has been in this field. Say it's on the first day of spring, or whatever day that makes sense, that every year for the next 20 years there should be an event. And then everybody can sort of get around and sort of have the public face, and just knowing that you're going to, kind of get attacked from the other side. I was saying at lunch, if you look up right now on Google, which, is the largest media company in the world, you can talk about CNN and everything else. Google's the largest media company in the world. And you look up anti-aging, the number 2 result, and probably the link that most people are going to click on first because everybody's heard of it, is Wikipedia. And you look up anti-aging in Wikipedia, it looks like it's been completely written by the American Medical Association. It basically says, supposition, the American Medical Association denies all these, fact. And so the number one thing, and I've mentioned this, that everybody in this room can do, is go into Wikipedia if you have an account, or create an account, and take a factual news article from the New York Times and Giron, for example, or from something else that is still available online that has a fact base at least as high as the AMA, link to it, and counter the claims. Little things like that are going to then help so that people are not afraid to put their name in front of something, and that will help you find the celebrities, help you find the big donors, and also raise the visibility.
On the project to have a weekly TV show that would take people who are terminal, and just like home improvement, they tear down the house and they build a new house for them. Only thing, we give them back life. And so there's a large company, which is the Samsung division, JC Entertainment. And he said, Woody, look, I tell you, it's a terrific idea, it's a terrific show, but it has to be celebrity. If you can bring me the celebrities, then I've got all the funding. We can do this every single week, a 1-hour show, okay? And so what I'm thinking is that I'm doing it more out of the fact that I want to do it. I want to make a mark on the wall before I die. And so I'd be very willing to share that with the group. And I think that I'm on my way to getting my celebrities. Basically, I met with Merv Griffin's son the other day, and I also met with Jerry West. And I think that the low-hanging fruit is to start with the very famous athletes, because they're much more available. And if you're an athlete that's been over 50 years of age, 60 years of age, you never made any money. And if you made it, you blew it. And these people have a lot of kidney failure, heart failure, and I'm in the position at no cost to them to fund the new liver and the new kidney and whatever it is that they need. And so that's something that we could throw into the kettle here.
Can you do 2 minutes on the history of the Methuselah Foundation and how they are financed, and about the Mouse Prize?
Aubrey already kind of talked about the X Prize and the Human X Prize. The Methuselah Mouse Prize and it's actually gaining traction. We've got now new evidence with the rapamycin result with a whole bunch of different supplements that you can take an old animal and reverse its age or extend its healthy lifespan. So there's some good PR there. And the prize is the type of investment that keeps on advertising until it's won. So the result is always there. It's not, and other people are spending the money to try to achieve that result. So the prizes are actually very effective at getting very difficult jobs like this done. And they're very effective at getting in front of the media because there's always something that then you can crow about. But what's needed is, again, almost the small amount of money that's needed for the administration of these things to pay people to do this full time. Volunteer work, as the gentleman in the back was saying, is great, but you need people to coordinate it, and that's the small amount of funding that's needed to run prizes effectively.
Okay, we talked about networking in industries. You mentioned We mentioned the sports industry, touched on that. Maybe that's the best place to start. Entertainment industries, one way to reach them. If we were to pick, let's say, an avatar, a prototype of the celebrity spokesperson or spokespersons that we would want for this, age, gender, what have you. Does anybody have any ideas what they think would be the most believable? What do you mean? Well, just create a model. Yeah, let's just build a celebrity. How old would that celebrity be? Would it be a he or a she? Would they be an actress, singer, athlete, and what have you? And then
Desperate Housewives.
Desperate.
Well, there's a real world example. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just has been all over the place on leukemia.
Yeah. Okay. Suzanne Summers would be great. Of course, she's working with Life Extension, and that's a real good possibility.